Lieutenant Commander Rebecca Morrison stood quietly at the rear of the expansive lecture chamber aboard the Galactic Naval Academy. Her arms were folded as her sharp eyes followed the slow rotation of a holographic projection hovering above the central podium, a Valkyrie-class battle cruiser rendered in brilliant blue light. Around her, cadets from dozens of Coalition species sat in focused silence while Professor Thexel, a decorated Valkyrie officer with polished silver scales, delivered his lecture on advanced warship architecture. As you can clearly see, Thexel explained, gesturing smoothly with 3 of his 4 arms, the Sovereign's pride represents the apex of Coalition naval engineering. Triple-layered energy shielding, quantum-locked hull plating, and fully redundant power cores positioned here, here, and here. Each system lit up in sequence as the hologram responded to his commands. Rebecca leaned forward slightly. Her background as an engineer made her instinctively analyze what she was seeing, but the numbers and layouts in her mind didn't quite align. The armor coverage appeared precise, almost too precise. The armor configuration follows doctrine perfected over 3,000 cycles, the professor continued confidently. Maximum reinforcement is applied to command centers, propulsion systems, and primary weapons arrays. This configuration has delivered exceptional battlefield results. Rebecca raised her hand. The lecture hall froze. Over the past 6 weeks, since humanity had officially joined the Academy, this particular human officer had become noticeable. Yes, Lieutenant Commander Morrison. Thexel said, his vertical pupils narrowing just slightly. Rebecca stood. Sir, may I ask why this section of the hull lacks substantial armor? With a flick of her wrist, she linked her datapad to the hologram. A large portion of the ship's midsection glowed red. This area, nearly 18% of the vessel, has only minimal structural protection. It's a major vulnerability. A hush fell over the room. Several alien cadets shifted uncomfortably. Even the normally energetic Draith students fell silent. Professor Thexel's scales darkened a shade. That region contains crew quarters, recreational modules, and life support distribution hubs, he replied. Standard tactical doctrine dictates that armor be reserved for mission-critical systems. Comfort zones are considered expendable. Expendable, Rebecca echoed slowly. She met the professor's gaze. Sir, those aren't comfort zones. That's your crew. That's damage control personnel, reserve operators, medical staff, the people who keep the ship alive when everything else starts failing. A Valkyrie cadet turned fully in her seat. Human Morrison, she interjected, surely you understand that armor allocation requires compromise. Not everything can be protected. Rebecca nodded once. I agree completely. But you're protecting the wrong things. With a quick series of gestures, Rebecca reshaped the hologram. New schematics overlaid the alien warship's design, simpler, older, unmistakably human. May I demonstrate, Professor? She asked. Thexel's translator conveyed what might have been a restrained sigh. Proceed. Approximately 250 of your cycles ago, Rebecca began, humanity was engaged in a global conflict on our homeworld. Our aircraft were crude compared to your ships, propeller-driven bombers made of aluminum and rivets. A primitive-looking aircraft appeared beside the sleek Coalition cruiser, drawing a few amused reactions. Our engineers studied returning planes and mapped where they were hit. Bullets riddled the wings, tails, and outer fuselage. Red markers dotted the hologram. The obvious conclusion was to add armor where the damage appeared. Several cadets nodded. The logic was simple. That conclusion was wrong, Rebecca said calmly. She changed the display again. A mathematician named Abraham Wald realized something critical. The damage we observed was only on planes that survived. The aircraft that were hit in engines, cockpits, or fuel systems never returned. We weren't seeing where planes were destroyed, we were seeing where they could afford to be hit. She paused, letting the idea settle. This error is called survivorship bias. Rebecca gestured back to the Valkyrie cruiser. Your warship designs suffer from the same flaw. You armor what survives long enough to be studied, not what actually determines survival. Professor Thexel stepped closer to the hologram, his expression no longer dismissive. When crew quarters are breached, Rebecca continued, where do your off-duty damage teams come from? When life support conduits are severed, how long before your engineers are incapacitated? A fully protected reactor means nothing if no one is alive to operate it. Silence filled the hall again, this time thoughtful rather than tense. You're proposing, Thexel said slowly, that crew survivability is directly linked to combat performance. I'm saying they're the same thing, Rebecca replied. Every human navy learned this lesson through loss. She brought up historical data. At the Battle of Midway, the USS Yorktown took multiple bomb hits that should have ended her. She stayed operational for days, not because of superior armor, but because her crew could reach damaged areas, breathe long enough to repair systems, and keep fighting. New schematics appeared, modern human warships. We lack your shields and exotic materials, Rebecca admitted. So we compensated differently. Armored crew corridors. Segmented life support. Protected damage control stations. Medical bays that double as command centers. A Draith cadet raised a claw. Does this not weaken your weapons and engines? Marginally, Rebecca answered. But a ship with a living crew can retreat, repair, and return. A ship with a dead crew is just an expensive coffin. Rebecca let the final hologram fade as she met Professor Thexel's gaze directly. Wars aren't won by ships, she said. They're won by the people inside them. The professor remained silent, his scales shifting through hues Rebecca couldn't interpret. Around them, cadets whispered softly, exchanging uncertain glances. Humans protect their crew quarters, one muttered. Inefficient, yet logical. Perhaps overdue, another replied. Thexel finally raised a hand. Class dismissed. The students filed out slowly, conversations buzzing with unfamiliar ideas. Rebecca gathered her datapad, expecting to leave as well. Lieutenant Commander Morrison, Thexel said. Please remain. When the hall emptied, the professor turned toward her. The Coalition Naval Design Bureau will want to hear about this, survivorship bias. Rebecca exhaled quietly. You fought yourselves for millennia before reaching the stars, Thexel continued. We often wondered what knowledge would emerge from such sustained conflict. Rebecca thought of memorials back home. Endless names carved into stone. Pilots, sailors, soldiers who never returned. We learned that people are irreplaceable, she said softly. Everything else is just materials and equations. Thexel inclined his head in acknowledgement, already composing a message on his datapad. Beyond the viewport, Coalition warships drifted against the starfield, magnificent, powerful, and suddenly, in Rebecca's eyes, dangerously fragile. But not for long. Because that was humanity's true legacy. Adapt. Endure. Learn from loss. And make damn sure the next generation survived long enough to do better. In the days that followed, Rebecca's lecture spread far beyond the academy walls. Design bureaus debated fiercely. Engineers recalculated. Tactical doctrines, unchanged for thousands of cycles, were questioned for the first time in living memory. Some resisted. Overprotecting crew reduces combat efficiency, critics argued. Others listened. What use is efficiency without survival? Coalition analysts replayed battle simulations with new variables introduced, armored habitation rings, protected life support trunks, distributed damage control hubs. The results were unsettling, and undeniable. Ships lasted longer. Crews adapted faster. Losses decreased. Rebecca found herself invited into design councils she had never imagined entering. Her role shifted from student to consultant almost overnight. One evening, she stood once more at the Academy viewport, watching a prototype cruiser depart the shipyard. Its profile looked familiar, but subtly changed. Reinforced corridors. Layered internal bulkheads. Life support nodes shielded as carefully as weapons arrays. Professor Thexel joined her. "You have altered centuries of doctrine," he said. "With a story about aircraft and mathematics." Rebecca smiled faintly. "We paid for that lesson in blood." Thexel nodded. "Perhaps we were fortunate to learn it secondhand." As the cruiser vanished into hyperspace, Rebecca felt a quiet sense of closure. Humanity had arrived among the stars carrying scars, but also wisdom carved from survival. They were no longer just newcomers. They were teachers. And the galaxy, at last, was listening.